This is Tony Jacob, and you are listening to The Kin Show, the best place to learn about kin. Let's get started. This is the very first episode of The Kin Show and was hosted by Tim Howard and was recorded live in the Kin channel on Telegram. In the show, Tim guest hosts a panel of kin OGs who've been on the kin journey from the very beginning. The panelists include Gamba, Richie, Andrew, Rachel, and myself, where we try to answer a few questions about our journey with kin thus far. Before we get started, a few disclaimers. All views expressed by Tony and his guests are solely their opinion. You should not treat any opinions expressed by Tony or his guests as investment advice. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only.
All right, guys. Well, look, thanks very much for everybody joining us. We're going to go on because I really want to respect your time on the channel today. A little quick explanation of the call. We have brought together some great OGs that have been with kin from the very beginning. They have a lot of experience between them all, and we're looking forward to our conversation today. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the panel. First off, we have Gamba, a longtime kin investor, founder of the Kin channel. And Gamba is also a very active member of the TKC War Room, which we are actually doing behind the scenes to do some amazing things with the channel. Gamba, welcome. Glad you could join us this morning.
Hey, everybody. Hey, how are you guys? I'm pretty good, and hope we can have an awesome and amazing hour together. Absolutely.
Well, we certainly are. We're going to look forward to it. Another member of our panel today, Rachel. Rachel's a strong believer in kin. You know her as Rachel here on Telegram, Columbo92 over on Reddit. Rachel's been busy assisting with wallet and exchange issues, making it easier for new people coming to kin. She lives in the Netherlands, married to another big believer of kin, and also, I know, a mum of a teenage son. Rachel, welcome to the channel, and welcome to our voice chat. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's Sunday here. It's Mother's Day as well in the Netherlands. I am excited to be part of this, and I don't know much to say at this moment, but I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to have a lot of fun, that is for sure. With the panel, Richie is joining us this morning, a kin investor. He will tell you, unfortunately, he started investing in kin at the all-time high. He is co-founder of Kinny and content creator. Richie, welcome to the channel this morning.
Hey, Tim, thank you, and thanks for having me on. I woke up like a half an hour ago, so bear with me, but yeah, I'm super excited to be here. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
We are very glad that you could join us this morning, Richie. Also on the panel today, Tony. You've heard from Tony before. He's an early kin investor, member of the Kinny team, and a big NFT collector. Business is product management and partnership by profession, and also a valued member of the TKC War Room. Tony, good morning. Glad to have you here.
Hi, Tim. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Happy to be here along with a few of the other OGs of the community. Excited to be a part of this discussion. Over to you, Tim.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to this since we started talking about it, so I certainly appreciate that you're here. Last member of our panel, I don't believe Mike is joining us today. We were hoping Mike was going to join us, but he has a long drive, a long 6-hour drive this morning out there in Sedona. But we have Andrew, also a longtime kin investor, lead engineer, and chief technology officer over on Kinny. Andrew, thanks very much for joining us this morning. We are glad you're here.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, I know a lot of people in the chat probably haven't met me before. Like you said, I was a ICO investor. I've been around the Reddit and in there a little bit, but mostly I've kind of stayed busy just working on Kinny and some of the other projects we've been working on. So,
well, we certainly appreciate you joining us this morning. Happy to have you here. So, folks, that's our panel this morning. Do hang around at the end of the show. We will be giving 4 lucky listeners 25,000 kin each as part of a thank you and a competition that we have here in the morning. So without further ado, you know what? As I said, I want to respect everybody's time this morning. Let's get right into it. I have a list of questions for you guys. So looking forward to finding out more, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get going. My question for the panel, first of all, is how did you discover Kin? Where did you learn about it? How did you get involved? Richie, I'm going to head that one to you, first of all.
Ooh, okay. So I was pretty addicted to watching YouTube channels about altcoins back in 2017, and I can't remember the exact channel name, Altcoin Buzz or something like that, but he mentioned Kin, and I had a look, and I knew what the Kick app was, so I just thought that was awesome, and I bought him pretty quickly. But at that time, I knew who Ted Livingston was, but I didn't know too much about how they wanted to incorporate the crypto within the app. But I just hit that buy button, and I've been in Kin ever since. So it's been about what, 4 years now, and that's my story.
All right, very good. Rachel.
Hi. Well, first started investing in crypto in February 2018, and I was looking for good projects. I found an article online about Kin. I don't know exactly what was in there. It's a long time ago, but I remember that it really spoke to me. And then I started researching it. And then I just thought, well, what Kin was trying to do is, in my opinion, nowhere else in crypto. And also the kick points really spoke to me. The concept of the KRE really spoke to me. And the total, what Kin is. And that's why I bought Kin. Back to you, Tim.
All right, very good. It's great to hear that everybody has, you know, little different stories on how they found about it. Tony.
So I had gotten involved with the crypto space maybe in mid 2017, maybe a little early 2017. Um, um, might have bought, a few hundred, maybe $1,000 worth. Nothing too much. Um, and I had gotten involved right when, the ICO boom was going on, and everybody had an ICO project to sell. And in the midst of all of this, I heard that Kick was doing an ICO, uh, right? With the background that I have, where I attended the University of Waterloo. TED and Kick is sort of, have a bit of a really good reputation there in terms of seeding a lot of the startup ecosystem there. And with that sort of track record, um, and reputation, I guess, I was really interested and curious to see more about Kin. That sort of kicked off the learning process for me personally. Obviously, read through the white paper, and I really liked the idea of the KRE, and it was quite unique with respect to all the other ICO projects that were out there. And I really liked the idea of aligning the users, the developers, as well as the advertisers, or whomever else might be in that ecosystem, where you could add value to one another without really having some of the negative drawbacks of the social media and the ads industry today. So that's how I learned about Kin. I was convinced. In fact, Kin was just one of the other one of the two ICO projects that I invested in. The other one has sort of gone away now. So it speaks to a lot about Kin itself, the idea, the fact that it's been able to, gather a large amount of users, ecosystem developers, etc. Right. So that's how I learned about Kin. My first buy for Kin was on Bancor. I don't know if Bancor still exists, but yeah, it used to be an ERC20 exchange Yeah, that was where I first bought a few of my a few $1,000s worth of kin.
All right, very good. And I know you've done a lot more and working a lot more within the Kin ecosystem as well with your team over there at Kinney. So phenomenal. Andrew, when did you first hear about Kin?
Yeah, so originally I was a second wave Bitcoiner. One thing I liked to do a lot was just go to Bitcoin meetups, and at the time I was living in Minneapolis, and I remember specifically going to one meetup, and I met a lot of individuals there. The first one I went to, I didn't really even know what Bitcoin was, but as I started talking to some of the folks there, I started to learn a lot more about Bitcoin. But at one of the meetups, there was a tech executive, and he was talking about, he was like, well, I like, and this was like around the 2013 timeframe. He was like, well, I like the idea of the underlying technology of blockchain. And that was like really the first time that I had heard something like that. And I had never even thought of it that way. But, I'm an engineer by trade, and I was just kind of learning the ropes for the most part at that point in time. Prior to that, I was, in the Marine Corps. And so I was just learning a new job for the first time and learning what databases are and all that stuff. And once I heard that, I was like, well, there's a whole nother way that you can engineer things. And it just clicked in my brain. But, fast forward a couple of years, and I just had that idea of that was something that I wanted to build after having that conversation with that individual. And, around the time that Ethereum introduced smart contracts, I went and I was like, I just tried to jam through it. And I was like, I'm going to build something. This is going to be really cool. And so the documentation wasn't great at that time. I kind of muscled my way through, and I wrote some of my first smart contracts at that point. But I ended up buying a lot of ETH, and I just for whatever it was, like $5 at the time, and just completely forgot about it. After a while, I started working on other projects and stuff. And then in 2017, I started hearing about crypto again. And so it was like this big exciting, I was like, oh my God, it's back. It got exciting again. And that was when ICOs started coming out and all of these new projects. And then that was just that idea I had of what was other ways that you could use this technology or other things that you could do with it other than just sending it back and forth. And when Ted gave his keynote speech, I forget, or whatever it was, the talk that he did where he first talked about kin. And I heard that, I was like, that in my head, the first time that I had pictured it was very similar to what I was thinking. And so that really just clicked with me. And then, when they did the ICO, I took a lot of that ETH that I had from when I bought it before. I was like, this is worth nothing, and just bought a bunch of it. And just took some of that and just reinvested it into the ICO and maxed that out. And so that was how I got into the ICO. I got started with Kinney a couple years later from actually the creator, Chancity, the creator of Kin Explorer. He's a guy that I've known for many years, and he was the one that brought me on to Kinney to start with. And we were working on another project for a hackathon at that time. And then at the end of that year, I came on, and the guys made me CTO of Kinney. So since then, we've just been working on the new 2.0 release, which we're pretty deep in at this point.
That's great, and I know you guys have some great stuff coming out too. So we're looking forward to those updates as they come along. Gamba, I know you and I have personally had this conversation ourselves, but why don't you go ahead and tell the listeners how you found out about Kin?
Oh, Ken. So that's a long time ago. Yes, that was I actually bought the top just like Richie. Funny enough. So yeah, how did I hear about Kin? Actually, it was my brother at the hype at the peak of the hype of crypto around December 17, who came up to me and said, listen, we're going to be rich. Let's do this. Buy Bitcoin, YouTube videos, shillers everywhere. So I was like, whoa, listen, let's do, I don't know about Bitcoin. I heard about Bitcoin, but, I've never dwelled too much into crypto. So let me do my own research. And, I'm not going to ape basically or invest on something that I'm not really familiar with. So I took some weeks off. I was like, listen, I'm not going to invest right now around December, January, beginning of January. So let me just do my own real research and I'll come back to you after a few weeks. And then, so then I went. So basically what I did, so it's just as a simple investor, right? Nothing really too techy in mind, just, wanted to get the feel, what I could find, if I could find something really good, something really bad. So I was cautious at first, because I didn't want to throw my money. I'm quite conservative in spending. So I actually went on Reddit. Funny enough, I looked into projects. So obviously the top ones were VeChain. There were some top coins, right? Cardano and all this stuff. So I kind of looked around and I was like, all right, they're the most popular. And then I went to, Reddit posts, and one of them, I think it was a thread about which coin are the most undervalued or the one that can give you the best ROE, so return on investment. What's the most possible way? I think at that time, Kin was pretty high, I'm assuming around the beginning of January, or it started maybe to dump around that time, but was kind of pretty high. And I think I saw one of two Reddit comments on that thread saying Kin. So I had a piece of paper and I wrote everything I could. So I had a lot, like I had 10 coins. And I wrote each one of them with what would be the potential X's, right? What would be the potential where they are at the moment and where they would be. So I tried to kind of be kind of good about it, trying to see what my return would be. And funny enough, I kind of lost that paper. So I had all like Cardano, VeChain, Vibe. I think it was one called Vibe. Like I had 10 coins and I had Kin in it. So I kind of lost the paper and I kind of and then I I was kind of pissed because I really wanted to remember all of these because, and then I don't know, the word Kin struck me. This is the first one where I remembered. I was like, oh, this is something like Kin, Cake, what's that, K. And then, and then just popped me up like it was Kin, right? So I went to kin.org. I saw the video of Ted. Funny enough, if you maybe you will understand what I mean, is that when you went initially, not this new updated website, but on the initial website, on the first thing that you saw when you got in is the video of Ted and presenting Kin. So I was like looking into it. I knew about Cake because he started to say Cake and whatnot, but I saw Ted, and funny enough, I was like, this dude is a really passionate developer, He had a hoodie, purple T-shirt. So basically, I was like, wow, sounds good, And then I didn't know that was Ted Livingston, right? So so from there, I just kind of read through a little bit of the white paper. And trying to understand the concept was very hard for me because I came from a non-crypto world, and then trying to understand what he was trying to talk, try to integrate Kin in something. So I was trying to understand. So I kind of went on Reddit, Kin Foundation Reddit, and I saw an awesome community over there. People really thrilled, alive, and whatnot. So this gave me some confidence compared to other projects. So I kind of dwell a little bit too much into. I'll dwell into it, and then this is where I took my decision to invest. So I kind of bought at all-time high, but this is where I struck, and then. What struck me and what kept me motivated is kind of Ted Livingston passion, right? So I was looking at him and I was like, wow, this dude is maybe it's a jam, right? Maybe the Kin thing is a jam. So this is where I got in, and here I am 4 years later.
Well, we are glad that you are, Gamba, because obviously founding the Kin channel is making a difference, and we've got a great community here on the channel too. So wonderful stuff. So to kind of follow up on the question of where you discovered Kin, I'd actually like to know, what are you most passionate and excited about Kin for in the long term? And let me throw that out to you, Tony.
Yeah, just before I answer that, just wanted to let you know that Andrew might have gotten kicked off the call, but yeah, I think Andrew could use the speakers link to get back on, right?
Yeah, he can, or just come in through the listening and I can unmute him.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, what am I most excited about for the long term? I think being one of the developers in the community, I think I'm really excited about developers and the fact that developers get to sort of uh, uh, build the trajectory in a large part for where Kin can go, right? I think that's what I'm really excited about. I'm excited about seeing more developers come on board of all sizes, small, medium, large. And I'm excited about use cases too, right? Crypto originally, right, with blockchain, with Bitcoin, I mean, was created to solve the money use case, right? Bitcoin obviously might have transformed into a store of value use case. But then we discovered several other use cases along the way, right? And one of which, which is NFTs have really, spiked the curiosity of everybody in the whole world. And we recently saw an NFT go for $69 million, right? I think so. Use case wise, I'm really excited to see use cases that are sort of totally unexpected, maybe stuff that we've never thought about, right? I think that's what I'm really excited about. And another important point that I like to make is, when it comes to developers and developers working to provide really good use cases and really good user experiences for their users. I think the Kin Foundation made the right call in moving to the Solana ecosystem, right? It certainly solved a lot of the issues that we had with Ethereum, Stellar, or our previous chain that we were on, right? So in moving to Stellar, we not only solved the transaction speed concern and improving the user experience, but we also got to tap into this really massive ecosystem that's in my opinion, sort of blowing up. It seems like there's another project coming out of Solana almost on a daily basis, right? So I'm really excited to see how Kin being a part of Solana is going to grow our ecosystem as well.
That's great to hear that, and I think we're all excited about the future of what can actually happen here. Richie, same question to you, sir. What are you most excited and passionate about for the future of Kin?
All right, yeah, kind of what Tony was talking about, developer-wise. I think Kin as kind of like McCrypto, so it should be super easy for the user to use it as well as developers. And I think Kin is heading in the right direction in terms of making a bunch of SDKs. So developers that are interested in Kin can really just drag and drop and have Kin in their apps. And I think that is what I'm most excited about, because what's going on now, and Brian, an awesome developer that he is making that happen. And there's a whole bunch of new SDKs in the pipeline. And I think that's just going to continue. And every day it's just going to be easier and easier for worldwide adoption and takeover of Kin.
I know there's a lot of callers listening today that just can't wait for that time to happen. Obviously, sooner rather than later for the majority, or for some of the people here, but we know it's all a work in progress, and we know it's going to happen at some point. So all excited about that. Rachel, coming from the Netherlands, what about kin over there? What are you most excited about?
Well, my answer is kind of cliche. I was telling it to my husband, and he said, well, everybody knows that, but it is what I'm most excited about. I'm really excited to see the ecosystem grow, that it really becomes an ecosystem that kin can be spent anywhere, that there's a lot of apps connected. And I really like the concept that in the kin ecosystem that everyone wins. The developer wins by getting rewarded by the KRE, but also because he attracts more users if he implements kin. And the companies that offer ads in the apps and that offer surveys and stuff like that get rewarded by the attention for potential customers. And the users that get kin, and that kin can be spent everywhere. So that concept to me is a winning one. And that was also what got me so excited about kin when I learned about it. That it would not only be used in Kik, but that it will be a complete ecosystem.
Gamba, are you with us?
Yeah, well, thanks, Tim. So what am I most excited about? Well, there's a bunch of things, right? Since it's kind of like and I'll use TED words, it's kind of like a puzzle we are in right now. Until all the missing puzzle are all together, it's hard to say which one it is. But I think, to be fair, it's mostly about the ecosystem, the apps and the ecosystem in general. I think this has the potential to be, something really, really, really big for the whole world. I think if it's done right, and hopefully it will be done right, we will see major apps joining us. And I can't stress this enough, especially with the craze, the hype. That's my personal opinion about, the crypto that it's going. This will just attract more eyes, more devs into that ecosystem, into how to, monetize. Now we see Doge going up, we see everything going up, so obviously people want to get in crypto, and I think we could be a great home for those devs or for those users trying to get in. So obviously we have to get the message right for everybody, for devs, for everybody to know about kin. And I think this is where we are at the moment. Right now we're trying to fix, I guess they're trying to fix obviously a few bugs, trying to finish the SDK. So I think I'm quite bullish, to be quite fair, for the long term. Right now we're kind of like, we don't know where we're going, what's going on, the SDK, the migration and whatnot. But that's okay. I mean, that's okay. That's part of the journey, right? We've been through a lot worse, especially for people who've been holding for so many years. So yeah, I think what I'm bullish about apps. And I'm sure the KRE is a great way to incentivize their apps much more than Google Ads and the other rest. With the big work that Brian did, and shout out to Brian if he's listening, to make a complete SDK, a quite plug and play, a quite adaptable SDK for devs. And we have devs like you guys heard. Richie, Tony, Andrew. So, if they're bullish, that pretty much sums it up, right? I'm not a dev. That's not my background. But yeah, I think long term, we're going to go far. And I'm quite bullish about the ecosystem. Now, I think we have maybe a couple tweaks and icks to fix right now, but that's okay. But the long term, as long as we keep on pushing and keep the message out, I think we have a great, great future. And this is what I'm bullish about. But we have to be patient.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. Andrew, just to make sure, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm back in now. I can hear everything.
All right, great. Andrew, the question that we're talking about is, what are you most passionate and excited about kin for in the long term?
Yeah, so I mean, that it kind of just goes back to the original question of the use case. And to me, it all circles back to Ted's original speech that he gave, and the way he explained it, I thought, summed it up pretty well. And, for me, it's creating a self-governing economy watching the Kin Foundation evolve and fulfill its purpose. And I think, the Kin Foundation in its earlier iterations, from an outsider's perspective, it was largely centralized. And that over time, the natural order of things is that it's going to become more decentralized. But I think, as of this phase, like, we haven't fully realized that potential because, as Rachel said before, it's, it has to do with the creators and the users interacting directly, and there shouldn't always be a power that sits over, that's the decider, And so if we talk about, the way that works with something like Facebook or YouTube, it's like, at the end of the day, the tech oligarchs that sit at the top are the ones that make the decisions, and they can get you to say whatever they want you to say. It's just, when it becomes this economy of users approving directly, saying, oh, I like that, I'm going to go engage with that guy's post. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's direct payment. And actually, I think the point of Kin is that it's not. It's something that's like, more like, to give an example of something that exists, like Steemit, like, where upvoting a post gives somebody a little bit of a tip, something like that, where the engagement directly is how the creator monetizes, and they're not having to filter that through a third party via an advertiser or whoever owns the big company,
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of brings us on to my next question. I know a couple of you have answered it in your most passionate and excited part for Kin for long term. I guess my question is what do you see the best use case for Kin in the future? Rachel.
Good one. Well, I forgot that question. The best use case in the future. The possibilities, I think, are endless with Kin. Tipping is one very good one with Kinny. I really like Kinny, by the way, but that's another question. But also premium membership that can be bought. Surveys that can be done and that Kin is rewarded to users. Ads that can be watched and Kin is rewarded. And yeah, I think just that Kin will become really big digital. I don't think it will ever be that you buy a car with Kin. I don't see that happening, but I think it can really grow and it's going to be spent anywhere on the web and anywhere in apps. And I think the possibilities are just endless, like a dating app that you pay for premium subscription. There is so many things you can do. But to be honest, I don't know more examples at this moment. But I think the possibilities are endless.
And I'm going to throw because I know a couple of you have kind of answered that question, but I'm going to throw it out to the whole panel, whoever wants to add anything to that discussion on that question about the best use case that you see for it in the future.
Rachel hit the nail on the head there. Good answer.
Personally,
Yeah. Oh, go on, Gamba. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Tim. No, sorry. Personally, I think sending stickers would be one of them. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Don't worry. But I think the Web SDK is one of them. I'm really looking forward about the Web SDK because this could open up endless opportunities for websites, and I think it could be easily integrated, like without having too much hassle in all websites. So the use case, everything's good for Kin. But I think is it Rachel? I think Rachel said it's like about tipping like with Kinny, and this is one of the great way to get it started first, and then we could expand on that. But yeah, I'm pretty. It's up to the devs and their ideas, I would guess. But yeah, anything's good with the S. That's the beauty of Kin, right? Kin, you could do possibly anything you want. It's just you and your ideas, So yeah.
Yeah, I think tipping is just barely scratching the surface, and sort of it's kind of hard to foresee what use cases are going to make it really big, right, in the future. right? That's kind of what's exciting about the space. The space, grows at a pace that is sort of like none other, right? Um, and that definitely excites me. And it's kind of almost impossible to try and predict what's going to be the killer use case for Kinney. It could be multiple. There might be one or two that might just, become massive. But it's kind of hard to predict what it is. But there are some low hanging use cases that Kin and its ecosystem of developers could go after, right? Um, Ads are clearly one of them. I think Kin ads had the right idea, and I'd like to see more of that come out from the ecosystem and more developers take on that challenge to fix a broken ad system and the broken social media system that presently exists. So that's one thing that I really like to see.
I know if I can just kind of jump off of that, I mentioned like social tipping social engagement economies and, having a governing system. But to me, I think that the whole key feature here is just the KRE and the subsidization of the fees. And so, like, if you think about things that are generally cool about crypto that don't work in a lot of other ecosystems just because the fees make it impossible, or at least a lot more challenging. Things that come to mind for me are like, if we think about NFTs, like I think NFTs would be a lot cooler if it was something like, let's say you make an account on PureBet or on Kinney, and we're able to reward people with NFTs as just engagement for using the app and stuff like that. It's difficult because of all the money that we would have to pay in fees, and so this is more so just a suggestion, for modification to the protocol, but it's just fitting it into that original use case that Ted laid out, which is, if we can shift, the way that the economics work, then, we can make a lot of things possible that weren't otherwise possible. So, all of this, like buying stuff, DRM copies on, your Xbox Live account or whatever it is, NFTs kind of solve that problem, but where it makes it more difficult is that the fees make it impossible to just give stuff out or do it at scale,
Right, and that's something I know we're very excited about with the Solana, and it makes it the transactions so much faster, but also very affordable. So that's definitely exciting stuff to look forward to. I'm going to throw my next question out as a general question. I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, but whoever wants to go ahead and answer it, by all means, please do so. What's your biggest mistake in crypto?
I'll take it. I'll go first, I guess. For me, my biggest mistake has been being ignorant in 2014, 2015, and not being curious about this new technology in space. In hindsight, I think I should have been clearly, and I think it's one that many of us can reflect and sort of share in the experience. The particular experience was when I was interning at one of the large commercial banks here in Toronto, and the bank was running in a hackathon, and blockchain was one of the themes, and the bank had then brought in the Ethereum guys, so that the hackathon builders and developers could sort of get together with the Ethereum guys and build something cool. That was an experience that I sort of look back on, and only if I was more curious about Ethereum, about crypto in general, that would have clearly worked out quite well. So yeah, that's one of my biggest mistakes, is not being as curious as I should have been.
Anyone else?
Well, we have something similar. Well, I passed up Bitcoin when it was $400. My husband spoke to me about it, and I said, "Well, it has become so valuable. I was afraid that it was going to lose that." And he, and that's also a little bit funny because it was the second time that my husband was looking into Bitcoin. The first time that he looked into it, it was under the $2, and he really thought about it and looked into it and thought, "Well, nah, that can never become something." Well, we all know how that worked out. But he is glad he didn't buy it because he would have sold it when it was $3 because 50% profit. That was just so big before all those big numbers in crypto. So that was our biggest mistake, I guess.
Yeah,
Can I?
we come into crypto for 10x, 100x profits, right?
Yeah. Can I add something to the use case if I might go a little bit back? Because I forgot a very big thing. I think Kin can become very big in the gaming industry. Being able to buy lives with Kin, level up items in games, and especially if that is cross games, so in an ecosystem with games, I think that can be just so huge. I just forgot about it at that moment, but it's a big thing that shouldn't be forgotten.
Yeah, that's another very low-hanging use case that I think, I'd certainly like to see the Kin ecosystem take on.
Yeah. Personally, for me, one of the biggest mistake I did was in 2012, 2011, 2012. It was actually after, if you guys remember, back then there was some protest in the US regarding Occupy Wall Street. I remember that was like a tipping point at that time about finance with the crash of 2008, sorry. And then people were trying to understand, finance. And funny enough, this is how Bitcoin was born and created. But yeah, 2011, I was searching, because I was quite, following this Occupy Wall Street that happened to protest against, obviously, the bankers and how they're handling the economy, the government, and whatnot. So that was really interesting at that time. And upon doing some research, I came across, obviously, videos about that. And I remember there was one financial ex Wall Street guy who was on YouTube, and he was really against, obviously, that how he was really against the financial system, and he was saying, guys, he was kind of shouting about it, basically saying, guys, buy Bitcoin, you're stupid, this is going to go to 1 trillion. And I remember at that time, I was like, whoa, what is this Bitcoin thing? Is it like an e-coin? Is it something that like a coin that you transfer to somebody? And I heard about mining it with computers. Like, what? I'm mining something that I can hold. I was like, what is this dude, really talking about? And I think at that time, like Rachel said, it was around $2, $3, $4, $10. I can't recall. But so yeah, I was like, nah, I'm gonna go with what people are generally saying is that I think at that time it was silver, gold and silver. So I was like, listen, what do I do? And I was short on money. I was kind of working in a part-time job, and I was low on money. I really wanted to embrace that Occupy Wall Street kind of thing. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to make a choice. I have $300-$400. What should I do? And yeah, I went with silver instead of Bitcoin. So yeah, this is one of my biggest regrets. If I just did half, I could have, that could be a different scenario. But yeah, this is, I wish I did my research and understood what Bitcoin was, and not just, what the media said about it's money laundering, it's used for illegal activities and whatnot. So I kind of, fell into that trap. But yeah, so this is, definitely one of my biggest mistakes.
For me, going back to 2014, I was pretty active in the Doge community, and at one point there was a cryptocurrency called Coinye, and I don't know if anyone remembers this, but someone made a satirical coin about Kanye West. And so what happened was I heard about this coin, and before they could do any real marketing, I was a bit trolly at the time. I went and I bought maybe 20 or 30 domains so they couldn't use them. And what I did was I put the Doge Shiba on all these pages, and I did this completely anonymously. And I thought it was all fun and games because I would go on the Coinye forum and troll them, and they would talk back. And then I went overseas, and my friends were emailing me, and they said that you should check what's going on with this Coinye thing, because I was named in a lawsuit. And so apparently Kanye West sued me, and at the time I was really in and out of communication, with emailing and stuff, and I used a throwaway email. And I look at my email and I see that his lawyers messaged me, and it was this huge ordeal. So apparently I got named in this lawsuit as some like master hacker and maybe the Doge CEO, which I'm not. That's obviously Jackson. Well, he was a developer, but he created the Dogecoin. But so long story short, I'm on vacation, and then I discover that I'm named in this huge lawsuit by this super rich dude, and it just completely, like, I was so bummed. So what I did was I went and I contacted was it EFF.org? I think I got that right, the Electronic Foundations Front. And I told them about my situation, and they set me up with a lawyer, so I didn't have to pay for that, which was awesome. But yeah, so that sucked a good 6 months out of my life. At the time, it was all fun and games, and I would say that was my biggest mistake in crypto.
You should have started out with that as your intro. I got sued by Kanye.
Yeah, I mean, I have his autograph, which I think is cool. But yeah, that's a big one.
So your greatest mistake in crypto was going up against Kanye.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I can't even imagine what was going through your head at the time, and the feelings that must have whelmed up inside of you during that time.
Oh yeah, no, it was crazy, especially because I used throwaway emails, I used VPNs and stuff. But what happened was the server that I was hosting all these domains on, it got subpoenaed by Kanye, and they gave out my information. But I mean, it was exciting because I saw my name lumped in like on TMZ and stuff, but holy mackerel.
Really? Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know
So
about
we
that.
have-
That's crazy.
We have a real celebrity amongst us.
Richie, the kind of West. Oh dear.
What happened with the lawsuit? What was the result?
So we ended up settling because he didn't really have that good of a case against me. But I'm not really supposed to talk about how that went. But
Okay.
You settled with Doge, right?
no, I settled with Kanye. And
That makes
actually,
sense.
like, the Doge community was really cool about it, and they sent me some donations and stuff. But yeah, it was a wild ride.
The amazing things that you learn during these conversations, and you know what, guys, I have a whole number of other questions that I would love to ask you, but we are really running out of time for today. I hope that maybe one day soon that we can get you all back on the channel again and kind of continue where we left off.